You're tuning in to the Black Hollywood Live Network, featuring news, interviews, and commentary on all things Black Hollywood. Hollywood redefined. From Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is Black Hollywood Live, Fashion 411, featuring the week's roundup of fashion news. Black Hollywood Live, Hollywood redefined.
You're listening to Black Hollywood Live.
And now, the host for Black Hollywood Live, Fashion 411.
Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. And if you're not in Los Angeles, yay, because it's raining here today. But welcome to Fashion 411. We're happy to be here with you. And this is the end of the month, end of Black History Month. And let's see here. I just want to remind you guys to check us out on iTunes. You can download the show for free. And we are still the #1 fashion podcast. And we have you to thank for that. So
yay, thank
keep
you,
it
everybody.
coming.
And
Yeah.
tell your friends, tell everybody out there about Fashion 411. We put this show out for you guys, the content and everything, and we're glad you're enjoying it, but we got to get the word out. And also, when you get a minute, check us out on YouTube and also rate us on iTunes. That helps keep us in the sphere of iTunes and for more people to find us. So
yeah,
thank you.
We definitely want to hear what you have to say. And today it's just you and me, Erica.
It
It's just the two of us.
Yes.
So, introduce yourself for everybody.
Well, hello, everybody. I'm your host, Erica Garcia Rojas, and I'm so excited to be here again at the end of February, my birthday month.
Oh, that's right. You just had a
Yes,
birthday.
yes.
That's right. And I'm Deanna Vaughn. I'm your former fashion girl from New York City. I used to work in the corporate world. I was a buyer, blah, blah, blah. And then I just got so burnt out. And I'm so happy to be here, being able to share my experiences with that and also like kind of let you guys know where you can find things for less and all that good
It's
stuff.
interesting to always get your perspective, Deanna, also, because you having that buyer experience from New York is on the opposite spectrum of my business,
Totally.
the manufacturing end of things, where I'm creating a line and working with people like you all day long. So,
You know, it's funny because back in the days when I was a buyer, like whenever my phone would ring, I would never identify myself. Like I would always say Bloomingdale's or Federated. I would never identify myself. And the reason why is because I always constantly had people like
Yes.
you blowing my phone up and calling me. But one rule that I tried to adhere to, I tried to at least give everybody a chance. I tried to make sure, like if people sent me samples or they sent me lookbooks or line sheets, I tried to make sure like I gave everybody like a fair shot and looked at it. Now some people would get a little annoying and you know they would call you and pester you, but I tried to do that and not every buyer does that.
no, not everyone does, and it's very, being a newer brand. I mean, my brand Rally Babe's been around for about 2.5 years, but we've recently gone into the space of the collegiate licensing world. So we're just working with universities, bookstores, different types of websites, sports types of websites. And it is when somebody's, okay, I've never worked with you before, but let's test it out. You appreciate it because then that's your opportunity as a new line. For those of you out there who are thinking about starting a line and everything, it's just relationships is so important, and how you treat people, especially
so
at the
important.
beginning, because there's so many things that can go wrong during the manufacturing process. And if you're not open with your buyer that you're working with or your accounts, then those relationships, they can't trust you. They can't trust you're going to get your shipment in time and all that.
So true. And I always
It's a crazy world. The apparel industry, I don't know. It's a crazy, crazy world.
I used to always tell people, like the assistant buyer is the gatekeeper, like the assistant buyer or like the executive assistant to the DMM. You always want to kill those people with kindness because those are the people that are they're the ones that are receiving the packages and the emails. And they're the ones like looking at it first before they send it to their buyer. So you don't want to like piss those people off.
No.
You always want to be nice and kind. You want to be nice in general to everybody. But that was always my little piece of advice to people like you.
Yes.
You know, to the vendors trying to get appointments and meetings, because, you know, if you can get on their good side, or if you can just kind of, you know, step a mile in their shoes and just realize that they're getting bombarded with all different kinds of things, it goes such a long way. It really does.
It's true, and that's how I've gotten into different stores. I'm more the business side of things for our line. I have it with my sister, and she does the designing. She's the artistic one. So I'm the one working with the stores, and that's how I've gotten into different ones, just by being really nice to the receptionist, being really nice, like, here, can you show our samples? And
Yeah.
but yeah, it's a
I
crazy
think
business.
since it's the two of us, I feel like switching gears a little bit based on our conversation. So since we don't have a guest today,
Yes.
I'm going to pretend like you're our guest.
Oh.
So tell everybody, how did you get started with Rally Babe?
So with Rally Babe, it's my sister and I actually going to be bringing her in as a guest too, so we can go into detail with her and the designing side of things. But she has a background in dance, actually. So she's a dancer, but she's always had an artistic side of her, a very, not so much fashion, but very good when it comes to drawings and that kind of a talent. So she was a cheerleader. She was a cheerleader at USC, and then she went on to become a professional cheerleader with the Clippers and then with the Lakers. And she was constantly creating items that she would play around with. So like she would get cute Lakers things and kind of adjust them to make them sexier. And she did the same thing, you know, when she was at SC, she would adjust things and make them super cute.
So she was the creative end of this partnership that you guys have.
Yes, she was. So it all started kind of with her and that concept. And, you know, people would ask her all the time, like, where'd you get your things? Where'd you get them? So she kind of started making them on her own, and then giving them to her friends. And then that's when she's like, well, maybe, you know, I want to start a line as well. She went to school actually at USC for business school, not for design, but she picked everything up along the way and kind of taught herself.
Interesting.
And so then from there.
And when did you get on board?
I got on board a little bit later when she, you know, reached out. We talked about it. I saw she was working on the brand, and it's like, hey, you know, I've got a sales and marketing background, and I actually was originally in real estate. I was a commercial real estate agent.
Oh.
So I sold a lot of apartment buildings all throughout Southern California and Nevada, and I did major deals, and I
didn't know
yeah,
that.
so
See, you have to interview each other
I
more
know.
often.
I
Okay.
sold at one point, I think I sold a $32 million apartment building.
Oh
Yeah,
my
I
God.
sold,
So you weren't just selling the units, you were selling like the whole buildings.
yes, the whole building. That
Oh,
was, it was
wow.
commercial. So I did that right out of college, and I did that for a few years. And it's crazy. I never in a million years would have thought I would have been in the fashion industry, ever.
Wow.
But every business, and this goes for you guys out there, especially more designer type people, you always have to have either, if you don't have that business mind, you've got to get somebody who does. You got to get somebody who's got that sales experience, because you
So
can be
true.
the best, most amazing designer out there. But if nobody knows about it, you don't have somebody pushing for you, then you're not going to go anywhere.
Yeah, or you're going to waste money.
Yeah,
and
waste
just-
money and waste time. And
Yeah.
so and that was a big key for my sister and I at the beginning, was really through people we met. So my sister had an internship in downtown LA, and from there she met different people who were able to connect us with our sales rep. We actually have a mentor that we go and talk to, and he's put us in contact with different people. So
neither one of you like formally went to
No.
fashion school. You never learned how to design, cut, sew, any of that.
None of that. So my sister taught it all herself, and she would take classes here and there. You know, she would take classes not like for a degree, but she would take classes in downtown. There's different organizations that offer classes on pattern making, different things like that. And she just did that on her own. But no, both of us went to school. I went to school for communications. She went to school for business.
Wow.
So yeah, but
So-
she's more of the creative one.
So what piece of advice would you give someone like who's trying to get into the business from your end, like from the design end?
You mean from the business end or
just
the design?
If they think, hey, I want to make a T-shirt line, or I want to design something, like what piece of advice would you give them? Because you don't have a formal design background.
No, and I don't do any of the designing at all either. So I don't do any of that. I mean, I say, oh, that's cute, or I don't know if anyone's going to buy that.
Yeah.
And it's important to have that perspective as well, because I know what people buy. And sometimes as a designer, you can get caught up in the materials and this, that. But when you get to the reality of the situation, especially right now, and it has been for the last few years, people are so price conscious, and so you've got to be aware of that, because you can use the most amazing Swarovski rhinestones, but it doesn't make sense when you're going out and selling it wholesale. So for a piece of advice, I would say to be nice and friendly to everybody you talk to, because you
Agreed.
never know who you're going to meet, who's going to be that contact that can lead you to something big.
Agreed.
So I'm huge about relationships, and we've gotten to where we have because of the people we've met, and just being friendly and nice, and treat people how you would want to be treated yourself. So if you're in a situation and you have an intern you're working with, or somebody maybe who's not, somebody you're trying to get into a store with, but you want to be nice to every single person. And I believe it. It's karma. If you treat people well, then you'll be treated back. And it's just good business is good human nature. And I think that's the best way to stay in business a long time, because people like to work with people who they like.
Yeah. Agreed. Agreed. So what's next for Rally
For Rally
Babe?
Babe, so we are...
You redid your website,
We
right?
did our website, yeah. If those of you guys are curious, check us out on rallybabe.com. We just actually got onto Etsy, too, because my sister
That's
handmakes a lot of
huge.
the different stuff. Yeah, so we're on Etsy, so check us out on Etsy. We actually have some cute St. Patrick's Day stuff on there.
Nice.
It's inspired by Maria Menounos. We did a partnership with Maria Menounos for her Boston Strong. So if you guys are curious about that or looking for a cute St. Patrick's Day, go onto Etsy and go into Rally Babe. And we've got some really cute St. Patrick's Day stuff. But right now, our focus is mainly the NCAA schools that we're working with. So we're right now in California schools, but at some point we're going to want to expand further out. So we're trying to establish our relationship here.
That's
with the
awesome. You guys
universities.
could become like the Under Armour of like the glamour,
Yes.
college sex.
That's the idea. And we're in, we just got, we've just shipped some stuff to the Golden State Warriors, and we're still at the Staples Center here with Lakers and Clippers, the Kings. So we're doing good. We're just we're
Nice.
chugging along,
Spreading
and
the word.
Spreading the word, and next step too is to try to work with more celebrities. That's a big thing too, is getting your stuff onto celebrities, because that can really push your business to the
Have
next
you guys
level.
ever done any gifting suites, any stuff like
We
that?
haven't, not yet. They're kind of expensive, so we've looked into them, and especially, we fund the business ourselves, and you want to be careful where you spend your dollars. And right now, it just didn't make sense to go in that direction, but at some point we will.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you're getting to know your host
Yes,
today,
yes.
everybody.
That's me.
Oh gosh. Well, here, I'll quickly give you my story.
Yes.
It's funny. I initially went to college because I wanted to be a doctor. So, like, if you go back and talk to people from my high school, everybody's like, "Are you a doctor? Is it Dr. Vaughn? Dr. Vaughn?" Like, that's how much, Yeah,
really?
I initially went to school to be a doctor. In
I
fact,
could see you being a doctor.
I wanted to be a pediatrician, and in fact, I initially went to Boston University because it was one of a handful of schools at the time that had an accelerated medical program, and I got into it. And of course, like any girl, I changed my mind. And at the same time, when I was in high school, I had always worked, like, my first job was working at Express. I always worked retail. I would come home from college break. I would go to work, at the store.
That's an interesting thing too. For
Always.
those, I did the same thing. I actually worked at Nordstrom's every holiday break, every summer break. First of all, for those of you, or maybe in high school or college listening to this, there's a great place to work is retail, and I would suggest working in some place like Nordstrom's.
You make
That's
good money
where I
too.
discovered my love for sales, because I love sales. Naturally, that's what I'm more of a
Interesting.
salesperson. And the first day at Nordstrom's, I worked in the brass plum department. My first day, I was in high school. I was one of the top 10 salespeople in the entire store.
Doesn't surprise
I
me.
know, and I'm like, what? And then my manager, she's like, you were the top 10 salesperson in the whole store. It was my first day.
Wow.
And I loved it. I had so much fun. I'm like, this is great. And I'm making money. And that was my first taste in, retail and the apparel industry, but also in sales. And I'm like, I know that, like, whatever it is, I know that this is where my talent is.
That's interesting, because for me, like, I loved working retail. I love the clothes and all that stuff, obviously, but I really love connecting to the consumer. I loved talking to people. I loved finding out, like, what's she looking for and why, and just, I don't know, you got into so many great conversations with people, and some customers ended up being my friends, and I got best dressed in high school back when I used to work at Express. But fast forward, what really changed things for me career-wise is I did an internship like my junior year of college. Did an internship, and I transferred around. But I went to New York City, and it was this internship program, and it was called BRAG, Black Retail Action Group, and it's this conglomerate of companies in New York City, and they have this internship program every single year, every summer, for students who want to get into the fashion world, whether you want to get into the business side of
Is it
fashion,
for
the
African
design.
American students?
It's for minorities.
Oh,
It was a
wow.
minority organization, and that totally changed my landscape.
Oh, how incredible.
So after that internship in New York for the summer, I came back, finished my last year of school at Ohio State, actually, and I got a job right away. I got into the Macy's executive training program. So I moved to New York right after finishing school, and that's where like my life and career in fashion started. I was with Macy's corporate for, my God, for about 9 years. And at the time, well, it still exists, but Macy's owns Bloomingdale's. So I went through the executive training program. I started off in young men's and boys. And I think I even mentioned last week when you were talking about Damon John.
Yeah.
That was the first meeting. My very first meeting as a trainee was Damon John came in the room for FUBU to you know, he had a big meeting with him, you know, to see what doors and stuff like that in Macy's he was going to go into. So that was my first meeting. And I just kind of rose through the ranks. I was a merchandiser. I did product development. And then eventually I went over to Bloomingdale's to become a buyer. And then finally I had enough of Macy's. So I went over to Liz Claiborne. And Liz Claiborne at the time owned a ton of different brands. They owned Juicy Couture and Kate Spade and DKNY. And that's when I started traveling a lot. I was traveling to Asia like 5 times a year. I was traveling a lot. And what that would entail, it was going to the factories and I was actually seeing, you know, how things were made. And it just gives you a completely different perspective of, you know, just buying a t-shirt, you know. So instead of me just seeing a t-shirt in a store, I see everything that goes into it. So I know the costs that are involved and I know how long it takes to manufacture it and how many people are putting it together. So I got to see fashion from every single angle. Because I think for me at the beginning, I was working in stores in high school. And then on the other side, I got to be a buyer and I did product development and I did merchandising. So just every single element, like I learned the process. And for whatever reason, I always managed to stay in accessories. Because some people, they'll move off into different territories. You know, they'll go to men's or women's or kids. But I always seem to stay in the accessories world. So and I agree with you, relationships were just huge, you know, like some of my, you know, better relationships in the business world or, you know, just led me to different things. And also, you know, having nice little perks along the way. Because I used to remember working in that world. I never had to pay retail price for anything.
It's hard to pay retail
and it's
price.
so hard to do that now.
It is. But, especially when you know how much things are marked up.
I know.
But relationships is everything in the apparel world. I mean, for us, that's how we've gotten our relationships with our manufacturers, with our sales reps. Everything. Yeah, it's so important. And you know, someone that I was an assistant buyer with back at Bloomingdale's, Erica Russo. If you're listening, Erica, but Erica Russo and I, we were assistant buyers together, and we worked for a very nasty buyer. But now Erica Russo is the fashion director for Bloomingdale's. Oh my gosh! And
I'm so happy for her, and couldn't see it for a better person. Because jobs like that, you know, someone has to die. Seriously, someone has to die, or or go crazy because those jobs are so coveted. And you know, there's only one person, especially for a store like Bloomingdale's or Neiman Marcus.
Oh my God! Because there's only so many of them.
There's only so many of them.
One handful. What? Nordstrom, Bloomingdale's, Neiman Marcus, Saks Fifth Avenue, Macy's.
Exactly.
You know, and then you've got like the Target, the Kohl's, things like that. But those type of high-end department stores.
So it's just it's really cool to see a lot of the people that I've come up with, like where they are now, what they're doing. And of course, I left fashion, but that was the right thing for me to do because I was just, it was very stressful for me because I worked in a corporate environment, and every now and then I'll talk to like younger people who really want to get into fashion, and the one piece of advice that I want to give is know what you're getting into, because I think when people hear I want to be a buyer, they're thinking, oh, I'm flying off to Paris and I'm doing this and you know, and I'm, you know, hobnobbing with celebrities, when really like the life of a buyer, you really have to have a great knack for, you know, analytics and numbers. It's all about numbers. Some
of the buyers I've met, well, maybe it's more in like the sports world, are like the least fashionable people in the world, because they're the accounting numbers type people. They're a lot of times they don't even. It's what sells, but it's what sells from a perspective of cost, not so much as, oh, I'm gonna go to the runways and buy for Neiman and Saks and, you know, give me a gift bag. So
and it's funny because I would go to a couple meetings and I would see some buyers and I'd be like, whoa, you look dowdy and you're not fashionable. But I wasn't understanding what that world really meant. And it meant like you really have to have a really good knack for numbers. You really do. Because I've seen many people fired, you know, they've lost their jobs because they had a bad season. And that's what happens in fashion.
It does. And you're in and you're out so quickly.
You are in and out so quickly. And what did it for me is I was a buyer for Express. So the same store that was my first job out of high school, I ended up being a buyer there.
That's
so
awesome.
it was like, you
It's a
know,
cool story.
Just kind of went full circle. And that was the job that actually stressed me out so bad. I'm like, I'm done.
You're done. I'm done.
So
That's
I don't
crazy.
know. That's kind of fun, like
Yeah,
learning
I feel like
our
we're
fashion
friends
background.
and I didn't know like the whole story.
The whole story.
Yeah.
That's my whole story. But yeah, I was in it for 12 years.
Wow.
And finally, and it was all I knew. So I knew that I needed a change, but I just didn't know. I didn't know what else to do because I'd done fashion for so long and it was such a part of me. But I finally
moved on.
made a transition, and but still, it's still part of my world. So, and I'm thankful for that. So, wow, you got to know your host today, you guys. A little off subject, but hey, that's what we do sometimes. You want to? What's going on with the Beauty Beat?
All right. So in addition to fashion, I do love makeup. If I weren't going to go into sales and everything, I probably would have started a makeup line or worked for a makeup line and do something. I'm not necessarily an artistic makeup artist. I just love makeup.
Me too.
I love it. So this week, I think it was 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, I brought you the top products that you can find at the drugstore. I'm going to bring you today the top products that you should splurge on.
Oh, I like that. Splurge versus steal.
Splurge versus steal. So these are, in my opinion, and I've tested a ton of products, these are where you can really do it makes sense to spend money on. The first one is Laura Mercier's Silk Cream Foundation, or actually any of their foundations. They have beautiful foundations, and they have multiple different formulas. My favorite is a Silk Cream Foundation. So Laura Mercier, they have great powders as well. And you can find them at Sephora, Nordstrom's, all those places. So check out Laura Mercier. I know they have a pretty wide color selection as well. I mean, I can't speak personally about African-American skin tones, but I know
I've never
that
tried that brand before.
Yeah,
but,
I know that they're known to have a pretty wide color spectrum. Second, best concealer out there ever, MAC Pro Longwear Concealer. I've tried them all. That's the best one, hands down.
I'm with you.
Yes.
And I think it only costs like 14 bucks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Get that concealer, like, it's amazing. Third is Urban Decay eyeshadow, specifically their Naked, Naked 2, and Naked 3 palettes. They just came out with Naked 3, but they've had the Naked and Naked 2. It's about $55, but the eyeshadows for the palette, but the eyeshadows are beautiful. And they got really, really strong color pigmentation. I know we talked about this before, especially with African-American women with the skin. You want to get those eyeshadow colors that pop.
Yeah.
And Urban Decay is one of them.
You know, I will say I have tried that palette, and I wasn't happy with it.
No?
Because I felt like it was just, I tried them because I wanted to just love it. But I found that it just didn't work well for me. It just, the colors came off a little chalky, and it just, it didn't work for me. Well, the one that worked for me was a Smashbox, their nude palette.
Oh, interesting, because I didn't like the Smashbox palette because I didn't think that the texture, it didn't seem to be that pigmented. But also try that Wet n Wild. Try that.
I'm going to have to get that, yeah.
I'm telling you, try it and come back and report back.
Okay.
So next up is for you lighter skin girls out there, those who might want a little bit of a tan like myself, the Benefit Hoola Bronzer. Best bronzer, bar none. The Benefit Hoola, it doesn't give you that weird ashy tone. It's a beautiful, natural looking bronzer. Same thing from Benefit, but a blush is a Rocketeur blush. It's a beautiful gold, rosy gold color that comes off really great, especially if you're doing a strong eye, a strong lip. Anastasia brow products are great. The powder duo and the Sigma brushes are, it's
another brush I need to get.
It's you can find them online. Sigma brushes, they're less expensive than MAC, and they're the same quality, but they're great brushes.
Can you get Sigma brushes like in a store anywhere?
No.
You have to get them online.
You have to get them online.
I'm the kind of person, I like to feel and touch, and you know, and sometimes
I've ordered them online, and what's great about it is that they do have a lifetime guarantee. So if you hold on to the receipt, I don't even think you need to hold on to the receipt. You can ship it in. If like hairs are coming loose or something happens to it, they'll send you a brand new one.
Wow.
Yeah, it's worth trying out.
Interesting.
Yeah, and they have little kits and all that. So that's it for the Beauty Beats.
I'm going to add one more product.
What?
So I happen to be going through my like vat of makeup products, and I got this Mally Roncal It's called the Evercolor Poreless Face Defender, and
Yes,
I
I've
think
heard
I
about
got
it.
I think I got it in a gift bag at a gifting suite or something. And for whatever reason, I used it last night. Oh my God. I think this cost about $40, but
Well, Mally Beauty you can buy online at QVC.
Yes, you
and
can.
at MallyBeauty.com, and they just started
You can.
carrying Mally Beauty at Ulta.
oh,
That's new as of like a month or two ago.
this thing is amazing. Basically, it replaces like setting your foundation with powder. So like right after you put your foundation on, or at least this is how I use it, and it's completely clear. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's completely clear, meaning anybody can use it. It doesn't matter what color you are, but you just put it on and it sets your foundation.
You
so
brush it on?
No, I use a sponge, but it's almost like, I guess it feels like a primer, you know, like the
I thought it was
consistency of a
supposed to
makeup
be
primer.
a primer.
I put it on after
Really?
my foundation, and it sets it beautifully.
Well, your skin actually looks really good today.
Thank
Yeah,
you. I
quite
use
glowing.
this, and it's, what is it? Yeah, Everclear Poreless Face Defender. I think it goes on after your makeup. I do.
really?
Not as a primer, because that'd be a very expensive primer.
I think it's a. I
but-
think it's a primer.
Well, hey,
I don't know.
if it's a
I don't
primer,
know.
it's worked
Whatever.
wonderful for me.
You look amazing.
Thank you.
So, all right, are we gonna do the style
Let's do a little
scoop?
style scoop.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe cut it a little short though.
So, style scoop for you guys this week. First up, Victoria's Secret's model Alessandra Ambrosio is launching a new line of apparel, which will be exclusively available at California-based boutique Planet Blue. The line has the earthy boho vibe the model is known for, and will include lightweight knits, hot pants, and a bustier. The prices range from $80 to $150, and in time, the line will expand to include accessories, shoes, and fragrance.
Everybody's got a line these days.
Yes, everybody. Up next, another collaboration is with Katy Perry. So Katy Perry is jumping into the world of costume jewelry. She's collaborating with retail giant Claire's for her new line of jewelry and accessories called Katy Perry Prism. It will be available at over 3,000 stores globally, and the 2-year collaboration will include limited edition items, seasonal novelty pieces, collectibles, and product inspired by the lyrics and titles of Perry's greatest hits, according to Women's World Daily.
Cute.
Yeah. So I'd be interested to see what it actually completely makes sense, that partnership.
It does. It
'Cause
really does.
She's so kitschy
And animated,
Yeah.
and yeah, that does make sense for her.
All right, so you Sex and the City fans out there, Entertainment Weekly has recently reported that we could possibly be looking at a third Sex and the City movie. Executive producer Michael Patrick says there is more to the story of the fashionable gang. He says, quote, Sarah Jessica and I both know what the final chapter is. That doesn't mean it will or should be told, but I do think that there's one story left. Whether it happens is a whole other situation, but there's 4 girls, and those girls are still in my mind.
I think it should have ended with the first movie,
I do too.
personally,
The
because the
second
second
movie
movie
was
was just, I'm like, what is this?
Yeah.
It made no sense. And speaking of Sex and the City, Sarah Jessica Parker just launched a new line of shoes exclusively at Nordstrom's.
Yeah, oh, really?
Yeah, and she's on a tour right now, going from Nordstrom to Nordstrom across the country, launching this line. I think they're in New York now, and they're supposed to be coming to LA in the next couple weeks, or actually next week, I think.
Well, she also
Yeah.
has that other collaboration. We had talked about it too, and I can't remember. Maybe that was it. Maybe that's her shoe line. We talked about it during the Style Scoop.
It's officially launching, and it's I believe it's in stores as of this week.
That show
Yeah,
is so great for its fashion and its style. I mean, there is not another show out there like that. That
know.
one, it was beautiful the way each girl had their distinctive style, and they just went for it.
And the way that what this show did for fashion, like I remember I was a buyer. Remember when she started wearing those flowers on her
Yes,
lapel?
yes.
I had to buy so many flippin' flowers for my stores. It was insane. And then the trend, it came and it went really quickly. And I just remember having to return to the vendor these flowers, or trying to sell these things, like marking them down to a quarter.
Yeah.
But just the way this show affected the fashion world, it's remarkable.
It's insane, I know. But the first movie was awesome. But the ones
Yeah,
after
I
that
don't think
weren't
we
that
need a
good.
third.
No. All right, so the Kardashians are at it again. More details have come out about the Kardashians Kids Collection, which will be available exclusively at Babies R Us. The reality sisters have put together a range of trendy but practical apparel for kids aged 0 to 24 months. The line is actually pretty cute and includes soft fabrics with trendy details. Think butterflies, peplums, leather, and lace.
Lace
I know,
for
and
a
peplums for a
child.
2-year-old. Surprisingly, the pricing is actually pretty reasonable, between $15 and $30 $1,000. And the Kardashian kids hit stores March 15th, according to Women's World Daily.
Wow. So wait, is this picture that we're seeing?
it's
This
so
isn't
cute.
Kim's daughter. These are just models
No,
for
these
the
are just
line.
little models.
Okay, that's what I thought.
They're adorable.
Well, I'm not surprised that they're venturing into that world. How easy is it for them to do that? You know. And I think their mom, Chris, she actually before they got big and famous, she actually used to run. I think it was her and her mom. They had a kids store. Like somewhere where they lived. But yeah, I think they had a children's store. So I think this is very an easy thing for them to go into.
They do everything. Makeup, everything. Clothing, kids' clothing. They do everything. All right, one last style scoop. This one's interesting. So those of you guys out there who love to buy used or maybe sell your used higher-end items, here's some resell tricks of the trade. The famous saying, one person's trash and another is another's treasure, doesn't always hold true, even though sometimes it does. Reselling clothes is an art, and a new report released by fashion resale site the threadup.com offers the best practices for both selling clothes and selling and shipping resale. Here are the best tricks of the trade. I summarize it. According to the reports, these 5 cities are the top resale destinations. Number 1, San Francisco. Number 2, Brooklyn and New York City. Number 3, New York City. Number 4, Seattle. And number 5, San Jose, California.
Really? LA or Miami's
no,
not in there?
They're later in the top 10.
Interesting.
Yep. These are the best brands to purchase resell. According to the study, they're the best bang for your buck. Diane von Furstenberg, Elliot Dahari, J. Crew, James Pierce, Marc Jacobs, Theory, and Tory Burch. The next are the best brands to sell. According to the study, they're timeless, durable, and they sell pretty well. Michaels by Michael Kors, BCBG Max's I can never pronounce it. Azria, Page Denim, Sanctuary Clothing, Juicy Couture, Splendid, James Pierce, and French Connection. These brands are harder to find resale, so when you find them, snap them up quick. They're the fastest selling resale brands of the past year. Burberry, Hollister, Gucci, Lululemon, Coach, Under Armour, Tom's, Motherhood Maternity, and True Religion.
Tom's?
Yes. So what are the best types of resale pieces? Leather skirts and pants, designer denim, dresses, shoes, and outerwear.
Interesting. And this means like getting it on eBay or resale shops, vintage stores in general.
Stores, resale shops, yeah.
Interesting.
It's a huge industry out there. Consignment shops.
I wish sometimes I get into moods where I feel like going through racks and racks, but I gotta be in a good mood for that.
I have to be in a mood for that
too. You have to have patience, you know. And I'm.
Some of the consignment stores are really nice. I actually have one by my house. It's an awesome consignment store, and I found some beautiful purses, Gucci, Louis Vuitton, and they've got a lot of. If you go into the nicer neighborhoods, you can find some consignment shops, and there are some. They keep them really well edited, and you can find some awesome designer handbags and shoes.
See, my rule of thumb is if you're in some podunk town, go to the Goodwill or go to the thrift store, because a lot of people, they give stuff away and sometimes they don't know what it is. I got a real Chanel like classic bag, like the the kind with the chain crossbody. Yes, it's
where
a random thrift store in Kentucky. And it costs like $6.
Oh, come on.
It's got this. I'm serious. Sometimes
the shop owner has got to know.
In some of these towns, because I'm from Ohio, so if you go to like some of these stores, they just don't know what they have sometimes. And the customers, they're not looking for stuff like that. But when you live in a big city like LA or New York, everybody's like stylists and everything are looking for these things. But when you're in a small town, nobody's looking for that stuff.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So whenever I go home, like to just visit my family, or if I'm like in some random place, I try to go to a Goodwill store.
Really?
Just for that reason. Yeah.
Just for that one find. You're like, it happened once.
I know, it happened
again.
It happened once, and I'm just, sometimes people just don't know what they have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or if you even go to a rich area in like Michigan or Ohio or some like random place, because again, a lot of those people aren't looking for that stuff there.
That's a good point.
All right, so let's round it out with a little hot mess.
Okay.
So normally this is Courtney's segment, and what's fun this week is Courtney was actually she was on the red carpet for the 45th annual NAACP Image Awards. So she got to see everything up close and personal, where we just get to see pictures. Do we have our first? Here we go. Let's see here. All right, so This was everything black. I guess that was a little trend from this weekend. First up, we've got Brandy. So she's got a black sparkling floor-length mermaid-shaped gown, and it was Jean Frere Couture with a little nude paneling and side-swept loose chignon. It's funny because I was out last night and I saw a couple women. They weren't as dressy, but I saw dresses like that. They were black with cutout, and it was nude. So maybe that's a trend. I don't know. What do we think about Brandy?
Yeah, she looks good.
Yeah,
Looks
she
beautiful.
looks good too. Yeah, everything's pulled together.
Yeah.
Next, we have Michael P. Jordan. He's wearing all black Prada tuxedo and a smile. And again, I think it's tough for a man to go wrong, especially when they have a nice fitting suit on. He looks great. He looks amazing. Next up, we've got Chandra Wilson. She's wearing Tadashi Shoji, I can never say that, black dress with scallop neckline, Aldo shoes, and a Swarovski clutch. And one thing I wanted to point out about this particular line, this designer, they're really known for dressing curvier women and just really making them look great. And Chandra Wilson, she's a curvier woman. She's not a stick figure. She's not a zero. But like, whenever I see her and then a couple other ladies on the red carpet, just always look pulled together. And I noticed they're always wearing Tadashi Shoji. And I think she looks great. Next up, we've got Miss Regina King. She's wearing a black Michael Costello cutout gown with over-the-shoulder cape that cascades into a nice long train. I can't really see the train.
I can't tell what that looks like on the photo.
It looks like her skin is exposed and showing. It looks a little weird to me. Maybe you had to see it in person.
And for those of you listening, don't forget to go onto iTunes, not iTunes, to Instagram and follow along on BHL Fashion 401, or you can watch us on YouTube.
Yes, for the pictures.
Yes.
And then next up, we've got some ladies that were wearing color at the NAACP Image Awards. So we've got Miss Lupita Nyong'o, who everybody's talking about this girl.
She's like the darling now.
If she doesn't win the Oscar for Best Supporting Actress, like there's probably going to be a lot of chaos happening on Sunday, because just every time I turn on the TV in like an entertainment show, like they're talking about her being a front runner. But anyway, she is wearing a brown leather pleated Givenchy gown with brown leather strappy sandals and a gold cuff bracelet.
I'm actually not that crazy about that outfit on her.
I think
she's brought out some cool stuff. I don't really like this one.
I think the actual dress is too short. It's way too short, because I feel like it should definitely like have a little hang and hit the floor, and it doesn't. The color, it's funny because she says it's brown. It almost looks orange to me.
It looks orange to me too. But, and I don't like the sandals. It's like she's on a red carpet. She looks like she's wearing like sandals.
Yeah, I don't like the fact that I can see her sandals. I think if the dress were a little bit longer.
Because look at all the other women in the picture. You can't see it.
Yeah, you got that puddling of the dress. So I'm not a big fan of this one this time. Next up, we've got Tika Sumpter. So she's doing old Hollywood glam waves. She's got a slinky Johanna Johnson cream slip dress with a long necklace and red lip. And I'd like to mention the slip dress all over the place. Like whether it's dressy or casual, this silhouette is going to be really big going into the spring, into the summer. I thought I'd point that out. She looks pretty. You know,
yeah, I like it.
It kind of looks like a nightgown, but I like it.
It works.
Yeah, it definitely works. She looks really pretty. Next up, we've got Naomi Harris. So she's looking like a bronze goddess here. She's wearing a Valentino floral metallic embellished gown. She's got long, loose waves and very minimal natural makeup.
Yeah, she looks good too.
She looks good. Yeah. She looks a little, I don't know, maybe it's the way she's posing, but just kind of, I don't know, looks a little dowdy in a way, but you know, you never know when you get these ladies on the red carpet. And then finally, we have Kerry Washington. And by the way, I have not seen the latest episode of Scandal, and I'm dying to watch it.
I need to start watching that show. I don't watch it. I know everybody says it's an amazing show.
It's amazing. And the fact that it's based off of a real character, I think that's why I really like it too.
Yeah.
It's amazing. You have to catch up.
I
Just
do.
Go on to abc.com.
I feel like I got like my political fill by watching House of Cards. I'm like, oh God.
Oh my God. I could have another conversation about that too.
But we won't. It's not fashion.
But Kerry Washington, she looks absolutely amazing. She's getting ready to bust, and she's wearing a royal blue and peach off-the-shoulder silk tycoon gown with a loose fishtail braid. I think she looks
I love the braid. I think it's so
gorgeous.
pretty on
Yeah.
her, like the way she styled it.
I think she
She's
looks
beautiful.
great.
Yeah.
She looks absolutely beautiful. All right, so that was a little fashion from the NAACP Image Awards, which was last week, and our Miss Courtney Stewart, who's not with us today, but she was actually there. And finally, we have our style throwback, just to round out, since today is February 28th, and it's the last day of Black History Month. So after this month, it's too bad for me, huh? But this is a style throwback. It's Miss Diana Ross, and God, look at her. Like, just, I hope you guys can actually go into to Instagram to see the picture, but talk about a fashion icon. And just, her daughters must be so lucky to just have her closet to go through.
Oh my
Like,
God.
just the wigs and the gowns and the capes and the hair. Like,
The feathers,
Just
the fur.
absolutely amazing. I mean, she was basically the Madonna of our time, because every time she had a new album or a new movie, she was reinventing herself. And it's just fabulous.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah, she was very much ahead of her time.
Very much.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
Fabulous.
All right, you guys. Well, that's our show for the last day in February. And check in next week, because I think we're going to have a fabulous guest for you guys. I don't want to spoil anything, but we're working on a really, really great guest. And we'll see you next week. So where can we find you,
All
Erica?
right, guys, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at IamEGR. And yeah, check out rallybabe.com or check out our new Etsy shop, Rallybabe.
Yeah, we had a little change of pace today, kind of
Yeah,
interviewing
kinda
each
fun.
other about our backgrounds, but hopefully it helped, let you guys in on who we are and why we're
you're listening
here
to
and who
every
you're
week.
listening to and why we're so passionate about fashion. But you can find me, Deanna Vaughn, on Twitter and on Instagram at It's Me, Deanna V. Thanks, you guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, Dario Kristen, and the entire BHL staff, we would like to thank you for tuning in to the Black Hollywood Live Network. If you have questions or comments, tweet us at BHL Online or email us at info@blackhollywoodlive.com. For more exclusive content, visit blackhollywoodlive.com. This has been a presentation of the Black Hollywood Live Network.
Hollywood redefined.
The views expressed here are those of the host only and do not necessarily reflect the views of BHL or its owners or principals.
Thanks for watching Black Hollywood Live on YouTube. For more in-depth interviews and news, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion in the comment section below here. See you soon, everyone. Bye.